Studio.
Driver getting us safely around the lot today. So we'll be heading out in just a few moments. Hello and welcome and wave goodbye to everybody to the left. You're never going to see them again. You are stuck with me.
Oh, hey there. You made it. Welcome to the Universal Studio Tour. I'm Jimmy Fallon. I'll be making sure that you get through this experience in one piece. You've got the very best guide.
Olivia.
And the greatest driver.
Eric.
They're the best. I love them. Even though
Olivia
owes me $5.
What?
I know you guys are excited to get on the tour, but first, a few safety rules.
Now we've made our way to our first site on the tour. We've got Fire Station 51 over to your right. This is not a film set. It's a real fire station that services all of us here at Universal City. Because we are legally our own city. We've got our own zip code, our own fire station, our own medical services, and our own sheriff's station, all right here on the lot. The only thing our city doesn't have that other cities have are permanent residents. There's nobody who actually lives here. We only exist to make movies, TV shows, commercials, music videos, you name it. And most of that activity happens in our sound stages in the front lot. In fact, 80 to 90% of all filming takes place inside of sound stages. Up first, we got Soundstage 12 over to your left. That soundstage is over 100 years old. So it's been home to a lot of incredible productions. And these are just a few of them. These are production offices for several different production companies, including, but not limited to, Jordan Peele with Monkey Paw Productions. He's the creator of Get Out, Us, and Nope, which we'll talk about more later on our tour. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson also has an office there for his production company, 7 Bucks Productions. Amy Pascal is back there with Pascal Pictures, and they were the producers of all of Tom Holland's Spider-Man films for Marvel, as well as Greta Gerwig's Little Women. So that's just a few examples of some of the exciting names and projects that live over there in our production bungalows. You can take a first little peek into our metro sets to the right here. This is a 4-acre area of our back lot, and we have it divided into different city sections. So we've got something for any part of any city in the world, going from the big city down to the small town. Up first, you can see Central Park over to your right, the grassy park area, as well as Brownstone Street. That row of brownstone apartments you may recognize from any of these productions. Up next, we're entering into our more small town area. We call it Courthouse Square, but you probably know it by a different name. Probably know it as Hill Valley from Back to the Future and Back to the Future Part 2. Now, I'm very aware that that building that you see in Back to the Future looks very different than the City Hall building you see over to your left there. But don't worry, that original structure with the clock tower and the 4 pillars is still standing. You're still looking at it. It's just hiding behind a brick facade. So that's not made out of brick at all. It's just a shell placed on top of the original structure to change the appearance of the building, because they wanted to be able to keep filming in this area, but that clock tower was far too recognizable as Hill Valley, so they had to change the appearance of the buildings. But that's not something strange for our backlot sets. In fact, it's quite normal. Pretty much all of our backlot sets are these facades, these shells made out of lightweight materials like plastic, fiberglass, plywood, sometimes even chicken wire and plaster. So take a good look at the city streets as we turn onto New York Street. The concrete jungle is not concrete at all, although it is quite convincing to the eye and even more convincing to the camera. New York Street has been a lot of different cities over the years. It was Chicago and the Blues Brothers, Boston and Live by Night, Baltimore for our 2016 filming of Hairspray Live, and even London for Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw, where they filmed part of a car chase sequence on this street. A recent show that filmed here was American Ninja Warrior. They actually had their obstacle course set up down the entirety of New York Street. So they filmed that one in the middle of the night, which was crazy. But now we are leaving the concrete jungle to make our way up to the real jungle for King Kong 363.
I was thrilled when you invited me back to Skyline. That was great to have you on the ride. Now we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to hand in hand because we're about to return to Sky Island.
Be sure to remain seated, supervise your children, keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the tram, and no flash photography. Alright folks, be sure to put on your 3D glasses. When our tram got pulled onto the screen by a T-Rex in that attraction, it technically became a picture car, which by definition is any vehicle you see on screen, even if it's not a car. And coming up on your left-hand side, we're going to have our first picture car displays. We have the Ford Anglia from Harry Potter, the Nissan Skyline from Too Fast, Too Furious, Jurassic Park and Jurassic World vehicles, including our Gyrosphere, the Fry's Tech Team van from Nope, and the Crawdaddy boat from Us, both Jordan Peele films. And finally, several Transformers vehicles, including that tank in the middle that's almost entirely made out of plywood. It was designed to look like rusted metal, but they used plywood because it makes it a lot more lightweight, which makes it easier to get around set. Also, easier to blow up if need be. It is a Transformers movie, that seems to happen a lot. And it also makes it a lot more inexpensive, which productions always love. This area of Old Mexico may look familiar to you if you're a fan of Lady Gaga. It was used in her music video for the song Judas. So we'll go ahead and cue the rain. That rain is coming from sprinklers shooting the water directly up into the air, letting gravity bring it down naturally. And we can keep things at this level of intensity. Or we could light it up into more of a drizzle, if that's what we wanted. But why would we want that when we could take it up a notch? I just watched some people get absolutely drenched by the flash flood. It worked very well. That water's going to flow right back under the bridge to be recycled for our next weather demonstration. But now we're leaving Old Mexico, which you may also recognize from Nacho Libre, starring Jack Black. And we're entering into the Old West. We call this area 6 Points, and these are some of our oldest sets on the backlot. They actually go all the way back to the silent film era. They're also some of our most credited sets on the backlot. But back in the day, we had a lot of Hollywood cowboys out on these sets. While the voice films in some of our newest sound stages on the lot, we're about to be driving through some more of some of our oldest backlot sets. Now these sets aren't quite as old as 6 Points, but they do go back to the late 1920s. This is Little Europe. Now Universal used to be quite the monster movie studio back in the day. We had Frankenstein, Dracula, The Bride of Frankenstein, The Mummy, The Wolfman, and more. And a lot of those monsters got their start here on our Little Europe sets. These used to be very doom and gloom, monster-ridden village streets, but as you can see, they are quite colorful and inviting now, because these sets got a makeover for our comedy series, The Good Place. And if you're a fan of The Good Place, I'm sure all of these buildings look very familiar to you. They filmed on every inch of these sets. That fountain to the left may look familiar. We'll be passing by a railway station from the show, also on your left-hand side, in just a moment.
You're in the good place.
I'm not supposed to be here. I can't risk going to the bad place.
Maybe it's not all that bad.
How can I help you?
What is the bad place like?
Well, it doesn't sound awesome.
Now, as I said, our Little Europe sets go back to the late 1920s. And they were originally built for All Quiet on the Western Front to be the streets of Germany. That was actually our first Academy Award winner for Best Picture, so I like to think that these sets have a little bit of magic to them. And they certainly had some magical locations placed upon them, such as Tortuga and several Pirates of the Caribbean films, The Kingdom of Genovia and A Princess Diaries 2, A Royal Engagement, and Little Europe was also the fictional storybook setting for Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, starring Brandy and Whitney Houston. So they are very versatile sets, but if you think it's impressive how much we can change up our backlot sets, just wait until you see how we can completely transform our sound stages. But our sound stages are blank canvases, and they completely transformed this one to look like a San Francisco metro station. Normally sound stages have very high ceilings, but we built this kind of lower false ceiling above us and lined it hopefully that was just a little California traffic. We'll be on our way. Okay, got it, Trevor. Nobody panic. Just hold. Using some really crazy practical effects. But you know what? I did not completely lie to you, because we did once use Earthquake to film an episode of the TV show Bones. So there has been something filming in there. I only kind of halfway lied. And up next, we've got a lovely afternoon at the beaches of Amity Island. Now, you don't have to worry about that little shark problem. We caught the shark, as you can see. And we even have our police diver, George, out there doing one final sweep of the water to prove that there's another shark in the water. Okay, everyone remain calm. We don't see George out there, so maybe he made it back to his boat or shore. Or George, there is a shark in the water, and you are so close to your boat. You better move. Okay. I am so sorry you folks had to see that. I was going to suggest a little afternoon swim. The weather is so nice. But scratch that. I don't want us to suffer the same fate as George. So instead, we're just going to remain seated and wait it out behind these very safe barrels of gasoline. It's something I'm working on. But obviously, I knew that was not a real shark. That was our mechanical shark, Bruce, who we named Bruce after the original mechanical shark they used while they were filming Jaws. And that shark was named Bruce after Steven Spielberg's lawyer. And yes, that was also the inspiration behind naming the shark and Finding Nemo Bruce as well. It all comes back to Steven Spielberg's lawyer. But you know, I like to think that our Bruce is the best Bruce because ours actually works. They couldn't say the same while they were filming Jaws.
Yo!
This one goes out to Dominic Toretto. You can see his black Dodge Charger over to the right. Got several other Fast and Furious vehicles lined up beside it. And all of these cars are parked in the parking lot of a very notorious motel. I'm sure you know it. This is the Bates Motel from Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Now, here's the thing about Norman Bates and the Bates Motel. He used to really freak me out. I mean, have you seen Psycho? But then I remembered, Psycho is a movie. It's not real. Norman's not really like that. None of that really happened. But but unfortunately it has ruined his business reputation. So I think we should be the ones to help him fix it. So if you're on vacation, think about staying at the Bates Motel, because look at that customer service. He is carrying that woman out to her car and putting her in the trunk. Eric, I think we should get on out of here before we are spotted by Norman. Hey, Norman, you know, we don't have to say anything about what we just saw. Okay, looks like Norman never wants us to say anything ever again. So, poor car, it was nice knowing you. So I'm here to tell you a bit about the making of the film and the making of these sets specifically are Steven Spielberg himself and his production designer, Rick Carter.
The airplane crash site set is a perfect example of a set that is all designed around the vision of Steven.
We put together to sit down and talk about the world. I thought, what if the 747 goes down right in a big neighborhood?
Because it's just something you don't see.
Southern California amusement park owned by former child star Ricky G. Over there, look into the winking well and have your picture taken just like the kids in that old 90s movie Kid Sheriff. That's what this whole place is loosely based on. Remember that one? No? Well, I do. A little further down, you can see the brand new Star Lasso experience. Built to showcase an unbelievable new live show. It's not looking so live anymore. Anyway, behind this Hollywood fantasy, gold rush frontier town lies a sinister secret. Hotspot. It's a bad miracle. You're about to find out. Welcome to the world of no.
Yeah, I don't like the sound of all that, so I think we should get out. Get it? Because Jordan feel. I appreciate the forced laughter in the front car, but I know it's a bad joke, okay? I had so much fun taking you through our studio's history a little bit today, getting to explore some really incredible film and television sets together. And if you're interested in purchasing any of the titles we talked about or you saw today on our tour, be sure to visit uphe.com or talk to any of our retail associates once you get back to the park.